YouTube Capital G here talking to Tramids. These guys are coming out in the Dark Illusion. We knew about this guy over a week ago, but I didn't want to talk about the Sphinx because it's hard to kind of get a feel for an archetype or really to discuss it when you only know one card. So I found that to be kind of pointless. I was like, I'll just wait until we get some more information on other cards. So based on what I've seen, this archetype looks like it's based around like ancient Egypt. The monsters so far they're all earth, they're all rock. So, maybe they got some action going on with the pyramid and whatnot. Plus, Yu-Gi-Oh, like the original show, like it has a lot of roots in Egypt with the pharaoh and like the ancient Egyptian like puzzles and stuff like that, or the artifacts like the Millennium Eye and the puzzle and the rod and whatnot. So maybe they're trying to work off that. I know they did that in Pharaonic Guardian a lot with like Guardian Sphinx and Great Desart and whatnot. So maybe they're trying to go back to that. Anyways, this guy is Tramid Sphinx. He is, I think, the boss monster of the archetype, or at least one of them, because he's like level 10, he's 25. That's pretty impressive stats. That's pretty good for a boss monster. He cannot be normal summoner set. Not sure I'd want a normal summoner set a level 10 monster anyways. That's a lot to invest in a monster. And it can't be summoned, or it has to be summoned by Tramid card effects, and it cannot be special summoned by any other way. So you can't, like soul charge it if it dies or whatever. Effect number one. If a Tramid card you destroy, or if a Tramid card you control, except itself, is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Effect 2, while you control another Tramid card, this card gains attack and defense equal to the number of field spells with different names in your graveyard times 500. Also, your opponent's monsters cannot attack unless they attack this guy, unless they attack the Tramid Sphinx. So it kind of seems like, when I thought of that, the summoning condition, I was like, okay, so a Tramid card has to be blown up, and then I get to special summon this guy. Like, that's kind of like Mech Lords. In fact, this guy kind of reminded me of a Mech Lord. I was like, that's almost the exact summoning conditions of Mech Lords. The effect number 2, the field spells in my graveyard having to have different names. That seems kind of like, I was like, whoa, like what? Are we gonna have an archetype? I can't think of any archetypes that have multiple field spells. I think this might be the first one, because usually field spells is either one of those things like you either have one or you don't. I don't think that there's ever been an archetype with multiple field spells. So if you have 2, that makes this guy 3,500, and your opponent can only attack him. It's actually not that bad. I wish you could summon it other ways though. All right, so here's one of the support monsters. This is Tramid Master. It's a level 4 Earth Rock, because they're all Earth Rock so far. 1,800 attack, 700 defense. It says once per turn, you can send one Tramid card you control to the graveyard. Target one set card on the field, destroy it. That effect is not that bad. I wish, here's one issue that I have with this monster. Actually, let me go to effect number 2 first, and then I'll tell you the issue. Effect number 2, once during your opponent's turn, you can target one Tramid field spell you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, add one Tramid field spell from your deck. But it has to be a different name, and it's a quick effect, of course, because you're using it during your opponent's turn. Effect number 2 to me seems a lot, like it seems probably better than effect number 1. But I can see how effect number 1 would also be pretty good, because if you're using it on one of the field spells, which I'll read later, then you can actually get another card for that field spell that you sent. So effect number 2 essentially is a way to empower Tramid Sphinx's effect number 2. Like if you basically use this, you get to blow up one of your field spells, well, send it to the graveyard, not actually destroy it, and then you can get a different field spell, and then you have a field spell instantly in the graveyard, so it gives this guy 500 attack, assuming that he somehow comes out in the duel. Here's the problem with this card, and Tramid Master could have been a lot better. Both of these effects say send one. They both say send instead of destroy. If this card would have been destroyed instead of send, the effect pretty much like it would have activated the exact same way. I guess technically Stardust Dragon would have negated it, but that's not really that relevant. But you would have been able to summon Sphinx off of both of these effects. That seems like that would have been way better. Like, could you imagine if you had a field spell on the field, you activated you activated effect number 1, maybe you blow up your opponent's Rippling Mirror Force or something like that, and then you summon Sphinx at the same time. Like, that would have been way better than, just being able to, spin a card or something like that. All right, next up is the field spell, and they've got 2 so far. I wouldn't be surprised if this deck had like 3 field spells, because they want multiple ways to power this motherfucker up. This is Tramid Cruiser. It has 3 effects. It says the third effect can only be used once per turn. Effect number 1, each time a rock monster is normal summoned, gain 500 life points. I'm all for that. There's not enough ways in Yu-Gi-Oh to gain life points unless you want to play like Morphages or Aramages. Excuse me, I get those mixed up sometimes. Unless you want to play Aramages, there's just not a lot of ways to gain life points. Effect number 2: if a Tramid monster is normal summon, you can draw one card, then discard one card. This is probably the best effect, honestly. It's like a mini Graceful Charity. Effect number 3: if this face-up card is sent from the field spell to the graveyard, you can add one Tramid monster from your deck. So essentially, you can use this guy. You can send this card to the graveyard. He'll add another field spell with his effect, and then you can search the Sphinx. But it would have been way better if it would have destroyed instead of being just sent. So this first field spell is actually pretty decent. Second field spell. This is Tramid King Golem. It says the third effect can only be used once per turn, just like the cruiser. And rock monsters on the field gain 500 attack. That's not bad. The whole archetype is probably going to be rock. Effect number 2: if a Tramid monster battles, or if a Tramid monster you control battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. That's basically Armades. Like it turns your entire deck into Armades if you're attacking with a Tramid monster. Effect number 3: if this card is sent from the field zone to the graveyard, you can special summon one Tramid monster from your hand. Okay, so this is the built-in way that you're supposed to summon Sphinx. Again, all of these field spells can be blown up or can be sent to the graveyard to activate Tramid Master to search. So far there is a little bit of synergy. The way that this archetype is looking, I don't think it's going to be extra deck based, because I don't really see any room for like tuners with a monster that's level 10 or anything like that. I also don't think it's going to be like Xyz based. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got like another field spell. I couldn't see an archetype with like 4 field spells. That would just be nuts. So far, you know what these kind of remind me of? They kind of remind me of Mech Lords, but I kind of wish that this dude didn't send. I wish he destroyed, because if he destroyed, at any point you'd be able to just summon Sphinx and just like get him on the field and just start wrecking havoc. Because when you summon him, he's probably going to be like, I know he's 25 base, but there's a good chance he's going to be 3,000. If not by this card on the field giving your rock monsters 500, then you might already have a field spell in the graveyard. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I would expect at least 4 more cards in this set, because usually Konami will give an archetype 6 to 8 cards in at least their premiere set. So hopefully we'll get a few more cards. So far, I'm loving the artwork. I think the concept is interesting. We'll have to see where it goes. Let me know what you guys think. And I think this guy is a rare. Everything else looks like it's pretty much just common. Thank you guys for watching as always.